Disney Dreamlight Valley just released their first developer update, giving us a look at what we can expect to see on May 1st. In today's video, we'll be covering all of this exciting new information, including a second Disney Park Star Path theme, new multiplayer mechanics, updated camera features, expanded Touch of Magic collections, incredible events unfolding in Eternity Isle, and so much more. Needless to say, we have a lot to talk about today, so I hope you're ready to dive into this exciting news. Before we get started, I'd like to mention that I'm a small full-time content creator, so pressing that like button can make a tremendous difference for me. Also, consider subscribing for more Disney Dreamlight Valley and gaming content. If you would like to enjoy the approaching update live with friends, consider joining our Twitch community. I'll be live on May 1st the moment the update releases, and I sincerely hope we'll see you there. And with that out of the way, let's get started. Hey there gamers, and welcome back to the channel. Now, like I mentioned in the intro, we have a lot to talk about today, and surprise, surprise, most of that information is going to come from the dev update video. So what we're going to do is watch that video together and pick it apart piece by piece. And with so much to discuss, I won't keep you waiting. Let's see what the devs had to say.
Hey Valley Villagers, we're shaking things up from our regular teasing schedule and bringing you a behind the magic look at the Valley's next update, including part 2 of our Rift in Time expansion. In our first developer update, we're giving you an early sneak peek at what you can expect, and make sure to stay tuned to the end for more exciting news.
And right from the start, there are some interesting things to point out here. First off, Daisy's house looks amazing. It's very vibrant, very colorful, and fits her aesthetic perfectly. A lot of us were wondering if she was just gonna room with Donald in the SS Daisy May, and it's great that we have confirmation that she will indeed have her own home. The second thing I want to point out here is this new approach from the dev team. Rachel just mentioned that this was their first developer update. And yes, in the past we did get the November 1st showcase, but that was a bit different. I don't know about you, but I really like the devs' approach here. This was a lot more fun and informative when measured up with our usual trailers and list of patch notes. So yeah, right out of the gate here, I really like what the devs are doing.
We're so excited to finally share that more Disney Parks content is arriving in-game with the inclusion of the upcoming A Day at Disney Star Path. And don't worry, you'll be able to collect past Disney Parks rides and items when they return to the premium shop this season, alongside additional iconic rides and parks properties.
And there it is, you guys. We finally have a name for this update, Star Path, and it's going to be A Day at Disney, confirming that we are getting a second Disney Park themed Star Path. On top of that, Rachel also just confirmed that we will be seeing the previous Disney Park Star Path items returning to the premium shop. And like many of you, this is exactly what I was expecting. So yeah, I have to say it's pretty nice seeing this all play out. Now, I already have the previous Disney Park Star Path items, but from what I've seen on Twitch and in the YouTube comments, the items from the Disney Park Star Path are some of the most sought after items in the game. I'm just excited that more players are finally going to have an opportunity to collect these highly sought after items. If you're looking forward to building your theme park, let me know in the comments below.
Our team cannot wait to see your Valley Visit adventures take place in your own Dreamlight parks. But that's not the only adventures you'll be getting up to with friends. In the Thrills and Frills update, join your friends on a fishing excursion, harvest their resources, and harness your Dreamlight to help them get rid of those pesky night thorns by having access to your royal tools wherever you roam.
So, as expected from Dreamlight Valley's social post, we will be able to use our royal tools when visiting friends. Now, from my perspective, this is absolutely massive because up until this point, there really wasn't much to do when visiting friends aside from collecting the glitchy pixel shards and simply exploring your friends' valleys or sharing your valley with others. And while sharing your valley or doing valley tours is a really nice feature, it didn't feel quite like multiplayer, considering all of the restrictions and just how limited we were in what we did. Now, they did say we could use all of our royal tools, so what about the camera?
Taking photos with friends and capturing memories is one of the best part of any real-world adventure, and why shouldn't this be the same for Valley visits? In our upcoming free update, Thrills and Frills, we're further empowering you to take selfies with your friends while participating in a Valley visit with enhanced camera functionality. However, that's not the only camera feature we saw our community requesting. Arriving alongside this update is the ability to take photos inside attractions you place in your valleys. This feature will not only work with attractions from past Disney Park Star Paths, but also the ones arriving in our next one.
And there it is. That was the #1 feature I wanted in multiplayer. I think this is going to be huge for me as a creator because I love doing valley tours. But as of right now, when you do a valley tour, it's a little bit limited for camera movement, as you can't enter furniture mode and you can't open your camera. But now that changes, and I'll be able to provide a better look at the valleys I visit. Now, of course, it's not all about content. I'm also just really excited to be able to take commemorative photos when I do visit my friends, or maybe even hold special streams where we do photo shoots, rotating in people from the community, getting together for photos, and then bringing in another group. I could even build special sets. I mean, there's so many possibilities for this, and I'm just beyond excited. But I must admit, I was even more excited when Rachel said that wasn't the only camera feature they had added. If you know me, you know I've been wanting more camera features for a long time. So the fact that we're actually going to be able to get into our Disney rides and take photos of that experience, I think that's going to be a really interesting thing. However, I will say there are a lot of other camera features I'm really wanting to see, like maybe a slider for the filters, because when you put on the filter, sometimes they're a little bit too strong, and I wish we had a little bit more control. Now, I could list like another 100 features I would like to see on the camera, but we're not going to get into all that today. And while I love the fact that we'll be able to use our camera on rides, I am really hoping and praying that we have some additional camera features that weren't mentioned here. Now, if we don't, I'm not going to be too bummed out because I think that's something that we will likely see in a future update. From my perspective, Gameloft seems to be doing a pretty good job at listening to the Dreamlight Valley player base, and camera functionality comes up quite a bit, especially with Dream Snaps. So I guess as far as new features go, time will tell.
Many of you guessed it based off of our last roadmap, but Daisy Duck is making her way to the valley. And after reuniting with her, you will unlock the Boutique, a new building that can be used to showcase your Touch of Magic designs. Friends visiting during a valley visit can also collect your designs to use themselves. And the fun doesn't stop there. Completing weekly design challenges with Daisy will unlock exclusive boutique rewards such as new Touch of Magic items.
And we finally get a look at the boutique. And I have to say, that interior looks so good. I'm also very fond of the display floor and the way we can highlight our Touch of Magic designs. I definitely think this is going to inspire a lot more of the player base to dive into Touch of Magic. Even if they don't wear and utilize these items, simply creating custom outfits just to put in the boutique is a reason enough to explore the feature, even if you're not planning on having people visit your valley. Now, when we were talking about this boutique and how it was going to work, I was pretty vocal about the fact that I didn't think this would just be for sharing your Touch of Magic designs. I fully expected Daisy to sell us new Touch of Magic clothing items and possibly even decor items. And while I was off about them being sold to us, I'm very happy to see that we are still getting some new items. And honestly, I think it's even better that they're going to be unlocked through these special quests with Daisy. Like I mentioned in a previous video, one of the biggest things holding back Touch of Magic, in my opinion, is the severely limited number of options. At the time, I think we only have 20 clothing items that we can utilize with Touch of Magic. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the one thing I want more than anything else for Touch of Magic is just a regular long sleeve shirt. Not a turtleneck, not a sweater, just a long sleeve shirt. I just really want to do a tattoo design for my villager that's kind of similar to my tattoos in real life. That's all. But right now I can only really do that with the turtleneck, and that leaves me with like this weird choker thing, which really isn't my style. So yeah, I can't wait to see what kind of new Touch of Magic items we're going to be getting. And I don't know about you, but I am very, very excited about diving into Touch of Magic more to make my boutique very special and unique.
Howdy folks, Disney Dreamlight Valley: A Rift in Time was released last December, and we've loved hearing your thoughts on the expansion pass and seeing your first reactions to visiting Eternity Isle for the first time. The expansion pass comes in 3 acts, and we're excited to give you your first look at Act 2, The Spark of Imagination. Of course, an expansive narrative update isn't all that awaits you in the second act of A Rift in Time. Get even more utility out of your Royal Hourglass as you level it up and work towards exciting new rewards.
Now, this part of the video was a very welcome surprise. We knew we were getting Oswald, we knew we were getting some Eternity Isle content, but the fact that we're going to be able to continue leveling up our hourglass to me is huge. And if you're familiar with me and my playstyle, you know my #1 focus is on decor and dream snaps. I love decorating my valley, it's what it's all about for me. And getting creative with dream snaps gives me something fun and exciting to do every week. So the fact that we're going to be getting new furniture items from this update is just the cherry on top of everything. I am very excited about this. But leveling up our hourglass and these new furniture items weren't the only new thing I noticed. There was something rather interesting in one of these scenes. First off, this villager appears to be crafting a fire extinguisher, which is one of 15 time-bending gifts that you can only get using the Royal Hourglass. And the big question I have here is, why? Perhaps these time-bending gifts are going to have a new utility in the update and will be somehow more necessary than before. Or maybe they're just trying to make them easier to get. But even more interesting than our little fire extinguisher here, if you look in the top right-hand corner, 4 new materials can be seen right under mist. And I'm not sure, but it appears to be some kind of sand, coming in shades of purple, blue, green, and yellow. I found this to be one of the most interesting and mysterious things in this entire video, and I would love to hear what your theories are on what this is and what it does. Let me know in the comments below. And with that, let's keep it moving.
As you embark on your quest for the spark of imagination, new adventures and puzzles await you. While the ancient ruins are filled with new challenges, you'll also meet an enthusiastic new friend. We are incredibly lucky to bring Oswald, one of Walt Disney's first creations, to Eternity Isle.
Now, of course, we've already known we were getting Oswald. I've been super excited about Oswald, and I know Oswald's been a bit of a controversial character. Some people aren't too excited about him. Some people say they just don't know him, they're not invested in him. But I definitely encourage you, if you're one of those people, to look into his history. Oswald has a very interesting history with the Disney company, and if you're a big fan of Mickey Mouse, then you should be thinking Oswald. You know, it's his story that brought Mickey Mouse into the world. I, for one, cannot wait to interact with Oswald and get to know him a little bit better in the valley and learn about the role he's going to play in the Rift in Time expansion. But what kind of features is Oswald gonna bring to the game?
The team has had a blast leaning into Oswald's fun and mischievous personality while building his questline. Inspired by Oswald's origins, you'll discover lots of fun homages to the silent film era in his questline, from transforming seemingly 2D objects to 3D, to breaking the communication barrier.
So I want to stop here and talk about what Ryan just said. He mentioned breaking the communication barrier. Now, I think this is a really cool feature of Oswald, but it looks like we won't have any dialogue exchange with Oswald, meaning he won't be talking to us, as he's very much carrying that silent film era persona. In fact, if you look at the dialogue box here while he's interacting with the villager, it just states, "The mischievous looking rabbit gives you a plucky wave." And when Ryan mentioned the communication barrier, it pretty much clicked for me that I think that's going to be the way we interact with Oswald just in general. And I think that's a really cute and fun concept. Ryan also mentioned converting items from 2D into 3D, and I really like the look of these items. I've always been a big fan of cel-shaded animation, and I have to say I like what I'm seeing so far.
The art team also had a fantastic time designing his house, inspired by old-time movie theaters. Wait until you see the interior, it feels just like you're stepping into the past.
Now, the interior of Oswald's house is really cool, but man, that exterior is something else. I love the fact that they went with this classic movie theater, and I'm really happy Oswald's gonna have a house we can place and move around, though I'm not entirely sure where I'm gonna put a black and white theater. I might just make a black and white area just for Oswald. I'll figure it out at some point.
We know how much you love critters, we do too, so we made sure that Oswald also has an impact on his surroundings, turning some of the things he interacts with black and white, such as the critters that can be found on Eternity Isle.
Now, like many of you, when I saw the photo of that capybara in the image teaser, I thought that was a new companion. But interestingly, somebody on my Twitch channel convinced me otherwise when they told me to read the video description on Dreamlight Valley's YouTube post. Unlike what we saw on their Twitter post and Facebook post, the Rift in Time Act 2 teaser trailer they posted on the 22nd had a little bit of extra information, stating, "Travel to Eternity Isle and meet Oswald the Lucky Rabbit as you unravel Jafar's nefarious ploy. Reveal new looks for your animal companions and uncover exclusive furniture." So when I read reveal new looks, I started thinking maybe that's not a new capybara. We're gonna have some kind of way to customize these animals. And that appears to be the case. I think this is a really interesting feature, and I'm curious to see exactly how Oswald interacts and engages with these animals to make them change. So far, I love the cel-shaded designs, and I'm having a hard time picking a favorite, but I think it might be the monkey. Now, while we're on this topic, I do want to talk about one more very interesting thing in this segment. Now, what we're seeing here could just be dev tools, but I can't help but notice the way this camera is perfectly following these critters. This isn't just typical in-game footage, as there's no way to just lock your camera onto a companion like this. Now, Rachel mentioned new camera features. Could this potentially also be a new feature? Or is this just a dev tool? After all, it's not out of the ordinary for the devs to have access to way more features than the players. They kind of have to, because they're literally building the game. Now, if this is the case, this would be such a cool way to do critter-inspired dream snaps and could open up a whole new world with our camera features. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Do you think this is a new feature? And who's your favorite black and white Eternity Isle companion?
We can't wait for you to dive into this new content. The spark of imagination may hold more power than you can imagine. Act 2 of the expansion pass will be released alongside our next free update, Thrills and Frills.
And here at the end of the Eternity Isle Act 2 trailer, we see some very interesting storyline developments, with these huge rifts opening up in the sky. Except this time they are a bit different. They're surrounded by this very cartoony black and white cloud, and the tears themselves have no color. Looking inside them is also a bit interesting. I can see some white picket fence, but everything else is pretty distorted, so it's kind of hard to tell exactly what we're looking at in there. We've seen one open up over Ancient's Landing, and a second opened up in the Wild Tangle, and I have to say, these actually look really cool. As far as these tears go, the Rift in Time story, and the Spark of Imagination itself, I'm really excited to learn and figure out what is going on. And Ryan said something very interesting here as well. The Spark of Imagination may hold more power than you can imagine. I'm sitting here wondering, how is that possible? Jafar already told us that the Spark of Imagination created Dreamlight Valley and Eternity Isle and is responsible for all of the magic in this world. I'm imagining it's pretty dang powerful. So if Ryan is saying it's even more powerful than I can imagine, I'm like, what else is it capable of? Like, are these tears in time gonna start popping up in my literal studio? Like, what do you mean? How is it more powerful? I want to know. I need answers. I need answers. Now, the last thing I want to say regarding the Spark of Imagination is that there have been some really interesting theories on exactly what it is. Jafar referred to it as a relic, hidden deep beneath Eternity Isle. But is that really the case? Is it an item? Or is it a villager or a being or an entity? There have been so many good theories on this on Reddit and YouTube and everywhere in between. I've heard some fun theories saying that Oswald is the Spark of Imagination because he was Disney's, Walt Disney's first cartoon character, meaning he was the initial Spark of Imagination that created Disney. There are a lot of popular theories revolving around Figment, as Figment is directly tied to the Spark of Imagination. I heard theories that our villager, like our avatar themselves, is the Spark of Imagination, and we just have to discover that for ourselves. Some people think the Spark of Imagination is an actual item or some kind of energy that we can find. So yeah, there's a lot of different theories on this, and I'm not really sure what to believe when it comes to exactly what the spark of imagination is. Is it something tangible? Is it a consciousness? Is it an entity? There are so many possibilities. And I've been very impressed with the Dreamlight Valley's team storytelling, especially in the Forgotten storyline. So I'm really excited to see what direction they take this. If you have any theories on the spark of imagination, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to read them. Maybe I'll make a video about one if I'm like, hey, I really agree with that, or I think that's really interesting.
Thanks, Ryan. I personally cannot wait to meet Oswald on Eternity Isle, and it seems that we don't have to wait for long. We're thrilled to end this developer update with one last surprise. Our next free update, Thrills and Frills, is arriving on all platforms on May 1st.
And there you have it, my friends. A truly incredible update video today, as we had so much to talk about. I cannot wait to read through your comments today to see what your thoughts are on today's exciting developer update. If you found today's video informative, helpful, fun, or simply entertaining, do me a very big favor and press that thumbs up button for me. As a full-time creator, that makes a big difference for me. And if you really want to help me out, consider subscribing for more Disney Dreamlight Valley and gaming content as I bring you these breakdowns every single week. Lastly, shortly after this video is published, I will be live on my Twitch channel. Typically, I go live Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. However, on May 1st, I will be live the moment the update is. As always, thank you so much for your time today, and I hope you enjoy the Thrills and Frills update.